My wife and her best friend accused me of having an affair and then got angry when I didn't actually have one. My wife, 29F, and I, 31M, had a baby last December. It was a traumatic birth, and my wife developed postpartum depression. Although she initially planned to return to work after the birth, she has been struggling enough that we decided to wait until our daughter was a year old and then reassess. She has been attending therapy weekly. With my wife at home full-time, I've had to work increased hours. This is something we discussed before making this decision, and she knew about it from the start. A few weeks ago, my boss approached me about a project that would require a lot of overtime in a short amount of time. It would be both financially beneficial and advantageous for my career. I talked to my wife about it, and she agreed that I should say yes to my boss. For the 4 weeks I'd be working on this, my mother-in-law and her best friend, Jessie, 29F, would come to help out with some of the duties that I typically handle. Jessie is a stay-at-home mom with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. She started coming over during the day and would watch the kids with my wife. 3 weeks into the project, it became clear that we'd need a few more weeks to get everything together. I went home that night and talked to my wife about it. She said she was okay with it but became very cold in the days after. It wasn't unusual behavior over the past few months, so I didn't think much about it and tried not to take it personally. During the last week of the project, I arrived home one night and noticed that Jessie was still at the house. I didn't think much about it, greeted her and my wife, and then went to check on our daughter. Before I could reach her room, I overheard Jessie saying something like, "He doesn't even stop to greet you." Definitely a sign. I turned around and asked what it was a sign of. Immediately, my wife started crying, and Jessie accused me of having an affair. She insisted that I must hate my wife because she has postpartum depression and that I'm not attracted to her because she gained weight from the pregnancy. Neither of these assertions are true. I'm doing my best to support my wife through her PPD while also caring for our family. I believe she looks great just the way she is now, and I haven't pressured her for intimacy as she hasn't expressed the desire for it. Jessie then demanded to see my phone. I told her no. She told me that's a sign that I'm guilty. I told my wife that I would let her see my phone if she wanted to. She nodded, and something inside me broke. I guess it was the thought that she actually believed I was having an affair really got to me. That she didn't trust me after everything we've been through. Well, she looked through the phone, and there was no evidence. Jessie started claiming that I deleted the evidence. She began screaming and woke up our daughter, so I told her to get out of the house. Eventually, she left, and I went to calm our daughter since my wife was still on the couch crying. When my daughter was asleep again, I sat down with my wife and tried to talk to her about what's been happening. She told me that she's been worried ever since I started working all the overtime. I reminded her that we had discussed what a good opportunity it was, and she agreed to letting me take on this project. She found it suspicious that we extended the length of the project. I explained that sometimes that happens. She wanted more evidence, so I showed her messages and emails with timestamps from work and pay stubs showing the overtime. She said she believed me and apologized for doubting me, mentioning that Jessie had been telling her these were all signs that I was cheating. I asked her why she believed Jessie more than me and why she didn't come to me with her concerns. She didn't have a real answer. It's been a couple of weeks, and the project is over. I scaled back and am trying to work a little less than I was before the project so I can spend more time with my wife and daughter. However, I feel burnout trying to do everything and becoming resentful because, in the back of my mind, I know that my wife doesn't trust me. I ask myself, what happens the next time I have a project? Or I have to run errands one day? Or if I have a business trip? Am I going to come back every time to accusations that I'm cheating? I've tried bringing it up a couple of times, but my wife tells me it's not the time and that she's tired or sad. I try to be mindful of her feelings, but I wonder if that means that I can never have any of my own. Update 1. A couple of people asked for an update, so I'm providing one, but it's not a happy one. That night, I approached my wife and told her that I was going to find a therapist. I didn't connect it to her accusations or anything, I just said that I was having a tough time and needed therapy. She shrugged and told me to do whatever. The next day, I got home from work, and our room and my home office were ripped apart. Things were everywhere, important papers scattered. I didn't see her, but our daughter was in her room crying. My wife left her alone, and her cell phone's off. I called my in-laws and a few friends, but no one had seen her. I'm starting to get worried, so I called my mom to see if she could babysit while I go out and look for her. Before my mom can get home, my wife gets back. Jessie's driving. Jessie doesn't come in, but my wife does. She's clearly upset and has been crying. I ask what happened. I thought at first the house might have been robbed. She starts screaming at me that I'm being unfaithful and that the therapy is a front so I can meet my mistress. I try to calm her down and tell her that's not true, but she came at me and she hit me. My nose is broken. She kind of realized what she did and sat down on the couch and went comatose, just stared at the wall. I went into my daughter's room and locked the door. Then, I called my mom to tell her what happened. She was already on her way, and my mother-in-law to ask her to come over and take care of my wife. I packed a bag for my daughter, and when my mom got there, we left. My wife didn't even look up. We dropped my daughter off with my dad and then went to urgent care for my nose. I got blood all over my mom's new Subaru. My daughter and I are staying with my parents for a while, and my wife is staying with hers. I am looking into getting a restraining order against Jessie. My wife and I are separating. I love her, but I won't live with someone who hurts me and who could potentially hurt our daughter. I am not proceeding with a divorce yet, with the hope that my wife will get the treatment she needs, and we can work things out. My in-laws told me that they're looking at inpatient treatment at a local hospital. However, I also have everything well documented in case of an eventual custody battle. My heart's broken because I know this isn't my wife, this is a sickness in her mind. But I need to keep myself and our daughter safe and give her the space to recover. I'm hoping that this is the right decision. Update 2. My wife passed away early Monday morning. Convinced by her friend Jessie that I was having an affair, which I did not have, she had a mental breakdown, resulting in my taking our infant daughter and staying with my parents for a while. She was with her parents, who planned on taking her to the hospital for inpatient treatment on Monday. On Sunday night, she came to my parents' house and demanded I give her our daughter. Because she had left her alone for several hours the last time she was responsible for her and had gotten physical with me, I refused. I offered to let her come in and spend time with her while my parents and I were present, but she didn't want to come in and insisted on taking our daughter with her. She was upset but left eventually. A few hours later, she drove her parents' car into a tree and deleted herself. The friend, Jessie, came to see my daughter and me yesterday. After some tears, she told me that she was planning to speak at my wife's funeral. She had already cleared it with my in-laws but was letting me know as a courtesy. I told her she would not be speaking at the funeral. We fought, and she left after telling me that I was an idiot and not the only person who loved my wife. I talked to my in-laws, who were adamant that Jessie be allowed to speak. She and my wife knew each other since they were kids, and my in-laws are close to her. We're all very fragile right now, and I fear that pushing this further would hurt my relationship with my in-laws, which I don't want. Still, the thought of seeing Jessie up there at my wife's funeral makes me feel sick. I don't think I can stand to listen to her, knowing that she took joy in my wife's deteriorating mental health and picked her up, leaving my daughter home alone. That being said, I don't trust myself to make the best decisions right now. My mind's clouded by grief, guilt, and fear. My parents are split on what to do, and I don't have the energy to reach out to my friends. So, I'm coming here again to ask for your advice. Thank you.